Hi. Looks like I'm live. I always like to give it a little buffer time because sometimes it cuts me off. My name's Jenny. I sometimes go by New Uke, New York on certain parts of social media, and I am an ukulele player and teacher, sometimes songwriter, and I love to post covers and arrangements and originals on YouTube and tutorials as well. I have a small community over on Patreon if you're interested in supporting my work and getting more bonuses and perks. But whether or not you ever become a patron, I'm thankful for you for being here. Thanks for watching my material. I appreciate the kind comments and the thumbs up. And I love it when I get requests and when I'm able to teach something in a way that someone says makes sense to them. So this is also sort of a way for me to improve my teaching skills. I teach in person and online, obviously, but I teach in person in New York City as well. So this has all been great for me to learn how to teach things better. I am posting today, streaming live as part of my one take tutorial series. In these tutorials, I sit down and I live stream for, somewhere between 30 minutes an hour on a song that I've arranged, a technique that I want to talk about, questions I've gotten asked, Patreon requests, YouTube comment requests, Instagram requests. I am, always trying to help with more interesting material so that you can keep having fun with your ukulele. And I know there are tons of ukulele teachers online and some great ones, and I follow them too and support them as well. But I'm also trying to make content that maybe isn't everywhere else already. Maybe 4 teachers haven't already taught this. So today I am going to bring you a song and a technique tutorial mixed into one, and also a Christmas tutorial, one more song for the Christmas season. It is almost Christmas in December as I am posting this. So whether or not you watch this seasonally is fine. You can still practice the techniques I'm going to teach you with any song, and you can move these skills around and apply them to different places. So thanks for being here. I'm going to jump right into it. When I do these, I do stream live uninterrupted and I don't edit them. So you will see me make mistakes. You will see me figure out better ways to explain something as I'm going. I think it's all part of the learning process. It's all part of the practice process. And I'm constantly learning too, so I'm happy to share that. If you do happen to be watching this live, you're welcome to say hi in the chat, but I never expect anyone to watch these live. I kind of expect to stream them to an empty room and then folks can come back in later and let me know questions they have, things that come up, and what they'd like to see in this format in the future. There is a whole playlist of these one-take tutorials. I've posted over 40 of them on songs and techniques. They're all totally free. And if you like what I do, then I have lots more over on Patreon. So without further ado, let's look at the song. You can grab this song from a free public post that is linked in the YouTube description box on Patreon, so you don't need to be a patron to get it. The song is called Taking Back Santa, and I wrote it in 2022, and I'm going to link below also my Christmas originals and some info on my ukulele advent calendar project, where I post a song a day for the entire Christmas through solstice and Hanukkah all the way into Kwanzaa and Epiphany season. Speaking of Kwanzaa, I need some good Kwanzaa songs to learn and play, so let me know if you know any that I can get chords for. So let's look at Taking Back Santa on the screen. You can grab these chords in that Patreon post, so that if you want them on your own device or it's not big enough on your screen, that is fine too. Sometimes I will take these off the screen so you can see my fingers bigger, so you may want to have it before you start watching if you're not watching live. Or actually, you can go grab it right now because I already posted the post that is linked below. So that you can see. Now, I want to tell you right off the bat, I did write this song and it's not the most beginner-friendly song. You see these chord shapes on the page, but I thought it was an excellent teaching song for slightly more advanced players, beginners working on leveling up. And so if this is not your level and this is frustrating to you, just skip it. I've got lots of other tutorials that are much more beginner-friendly. This is more of a beginner to moving into either intermediate or an intermediate player. If you're not comfortable with all these chord shapes, that's also what this song tutorial is about, though. I want us to use this song to practice the bar chords and movable chord shapes that I built this song around. I did write the song in this key, believe it or not, even though it's not the most ukulele friendly key, because I liked the movement of the chords. So, not beginner friendly, yes, a cool thing to practice, and shapes that you can use in other songs. So you can take what you learn in this, and even some of the techniques you can apply to other shapes. So this is hopefully will be a very versatile lesson for those of you who are looking to sort of level up or who are already there and can already play these comfortably. So let's just start with the way the song is working. And it's a 2-page song. So, but there are parts that repeat. And so we don't have to learn as much as it might look like on the page. You see the chords off to the side, but I want to look at the structure of the song first. There's sort of a verse, and there's kind of a part 1 and part 2. And I would say even, let's call part 1 the refrain, because it gets repeated over and over again. Take him back, Santa. The song starts with that, so it doesn't feel like a traditional chorus, but sometimes songs start with choruses. And I wrote the song, so I can say it's a chorus if I want. That's the chorus or the refrain. Take him back, Santa. I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Now, then we'll say the verse comes next. The A flat to E flat 7 is going to happen at that moment. Come on and stuff my stocking. So we do those, and then we do a little transitional chord riffing here. There's a chord progression that I use with movable chord shapes that we'll talk about in a minute as a transition, and then I go back into the intro, and then we go back into the same thing we did again. So we're going to say stanza 1, stanza 2, or 1 and 2. Then we do that again. Then we do 1 and 2 again. And then there's a sort of additional third part. And this is maybe a B side to the verse because they lead right into each other lyrically. But new chords, different chords, the must have had his hat pulled down part is different. So I'm going to call that section 3. Then we do another movable chord shape transition, but it's a different one. And we move back into section 1, 2, and 3 again. Another movable chord shape transition. And then we have sections 1 and 2 again. We don't go to 3 at the end. We do a movable chord shape ending. And that is the way that this song works. So there's 3 stanzas to learn and then some movable chord shape patterns to practice, and the whole thing put together would be the entire song, obviously. So we can work on those 3 sections, and we can work on the sort of instrumental stuff happening in between as transitions and the intro outro as well. Now let's look excuse me, at the chords. We're going to talk more about the chords when we get into putting them into the song, so I'm not going to go into them at great length, but I want you to look at what I tried to show you here. That you are going from, you have an E flat, which some beginners are learning E flat, and E also uses this shape. E is written down here. I had to use a couple of different chord shape fonts in order to get them to look the way I wanted them to, so that you could compare chords next to each other. But E flat and E are the same shape. They're just, one is played, if you number the frets from string 4 to string 1, 3 3 3 1 for the E flat and 4 4 4 2 for the E. So E flat and E right next to each other. You can scoot forward or back to change one to the other. So then we've got some similar shapes here to each other, C sharp and C sharp 7, but they're not exactly, they're not mirroring each other, just moving up and down a fret. The C sharp, you're barring the 1st fret, and then you're putting probably your pinky out here on the 4th fret of your A string. That's your C sharp. C sharp 7, if you move that pinky, but you can actually make it a different finger if it's more comfortable, all the way down to the 2nd fret. That is your C sharp 7. Now that's the same shape as a barred D7. So this is where we're starting to get into movable chord shapes right away. If you play your D7, 2nd fret bar, and then your any finger, whatever's comfortable, I use my middle or my ring or sometimes even my pinky, on the 3rd fret of the string 1, the A string, you've got your D7. If you scoot that back, that's a D flat or a C sharp 7, which is what we've got in this song. So that is already starting to show us how I built this song. And then look, here is an E flat 7. So go back to your D7 shape and move that all up towards your sound hole 1 fret. So now you're on 3 3 3 4, and you're at an E flat 7. So you can even take some time and practice going from the C sharp 7 and then just inching that up. You're not going to do exactly that in this song, but it'll be very similar. That's the concept that this song was built around when I was writing it. So that is one row of kind of similar but not all the same shape chords. Now the second row, you've got 3 chords that are the same shape, just in different places on the fretboard. And each one of them is a bar chord with 2 fingers next to the bar chord. Now this is built on the F shape. And for more on movable chord shapes, I do have a whole tutorial that I've created on it. Movable and bar chord shapes. Let's see here, I'm going to just double check. And I'll put the link in the timestamps when I make the timestamps after I post this video. So movable and bar chord shapes are going to be where? Who did I record that for? I think I recorded that for maybe $20 plus patrons, but I'll find it. I'll find the post and I'll share it with you. It might be in my one-take tutorials though, which are all free and open to the public. So I'll find the link and I'll post that later. So when we are looking at this second line of chords here, those are all built around the F shape. So if you can play a 2-finger F, you've got half of this chord shape already. Now the interesting thing is that with movable chord shapes, as we move them up the neck toward the sound hole, then we're going to have to recreate this nut behind the strings. That's kind of our 0 fret. And then if we're moving shapes up, we need to cover the uncovered strings. So see how F doesn't cover your C or your A? If I were just to move that up 1 fret, then my open strings are now on the wrong note. They should be, like if this thing could move forward, or if you had a capo, that would make an F sharp, but I'm going to do that with my finger. I'm going to put my finger down as the bar or the capo and put that shape next to it, the F shape, with my middle and my ring finger, and then I'm playing an F sharp. And then if I move that up, I'm playing a G. And if I move that up, it's a G sharp or an A flat. So that is what you see on this second line of chords here. You see the F sharp, the G, F sharp, G, and A flat. And that is going to happen in this song a lot. So that is a really important thing for me to show you, that they're the exact same shape. It's just each one moves up towards your sound hole. All the fingers come forward 1 fret. So that's another thing to practice. Now the final line, the third line, is also similar to the second line in that it's all the same shape, and it's showing you another chord progression where you can inch your fingers up and down to change shapes. So start out with that E shape, and then you move to your up 1 fret, all those fingers, and you're playing an F, and you move up all those fingers and you're playing an F sharp. Basically, any chord shape you play that covers all 4 strings, whether it is a bar, whether it is different fingers on different strings, anything that covers all 4 strings is movable. So anywhere you move that on your fretboard, it will be a chord. So like if I take my D minor 7 shape, which is 2, 2, 1, 3, I can move that anywhere. Oops. You have to get your fingers squished together more as you get up where the frets get smaller. There you go. That's always a chord. And so, you know, it takes some learning the fretboard and are able to name the chord yourself. You know, if you don't already know how the fretboard movements work, and I'm not going to go over that in this video, but you can actually start to figure out how to make chords for yourself, like, oh, I want a different shape for the G. Well, you could take a different shape, like the F shape, and start moving it forward and get to your G in a different way. So that's what's great about movable chords. It also makes it easier, and this will apply to this song as well, to do something like some of our fretting hand muting, which I usually call left hand muting because I'm a right-handed player. But if you're a lefty, then it's your right hand doing it. The hand that makes the chord shapes can also do a little bounce and pulse when you're making those chords without taking your fingers off the strings. That gives us, whenever we're covering all 4 strings, a really easy pump strum or pulsing strum, whatever you want to call it. So I teach videos, I have some videos rather on doing some muting techniques and how to make the pump strum work when you do have open chords, like when you're playing a regular F chord, you have to put some other fingers out to deaden the sound. That can actually be more complicated than playing a movable chord shape where all you have to do is leave your fingers on the strings and pulse. So movable chord shapes are great for that effect too, that pump strum effect, which is what I used in this song in a lot of the places. So that's another thing that we can practice with this song if you're interested, or you can take that practice to other songs. But using these movable chord shapes, these 4-finger chord shapes, or 4-string, I should say, because sometimes they're bar chords. You don't necessarily need 4 fingers to cover 4 strings, but taking these shapes and using them in other songs is another great way to be able to do more pump strumming and things like that. And it's really helpful for us to get used to some of these shapes, because sometimes when an F sharp comes up in a song that you really want to play, this is just the sort of the most beginner friendly, even though it's not a beginner chord, way to play it. And while there are other ways to play the E, you will find songs where some of the alternate E shapes won't sound right to you, and this E might be just the ticket. So these are really worth playing. You know, that first line of chords, other than the E flat, you're not going to see the others as much, but you will sometimes see C sharp 7, and E flat 7, especially if you like a lot of jazzy songs, or if you're playing along with other instrumentalists and you don't always get to pick the key. It's good if you're interested in leveling up your playing by playing more advanced chords, then this can help you with that. Now, you may already know all these chords. They may be easy for you. You may have no problem with it, and that's cool too. You may have even skipped this section and you're not even listening to me say this because you just use timestamps to jump ahead. But basically, I'm going to show you in this song how the chords move, and then leave that for you as practice points or to take to other songs. So now that we've looked at the chords, sort of why I've grouped them in the 3 ways that I've grouped them, let's start to work through the different sections of the song. And let's take the stanzas with lyrics first, parts 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll go back and look at the sort of transitional instrumental moments where it's just chords and no lyrics. So for this, I want to take the chords off the screen. So if you don't have them on your end, I would grab them before you continue watching, because I want you to be able to see my fingers in this. And in fact, I'm going to scoot even a little bit closer so that you can see what I'm doing. Oh, that shook my whole computer. Sorry. All right. So we're going to start with the first stanza with lyrics, Taking Back Santa. That's part 1, or the chorus or refrain. And we're going to start with that annoying E shape, but as an E flat. So 3, 3, 3, 1. I'm playing a low G, but this will work on high G as well. That's what each of the strings should sound like if you're playing along with me. Unless you've got a high G, in which case that lowest string will be an octave up, but it'll still work. This is, I think, one of the harder switches in the song. There are a couple in here that are not easy, and yes, I did write it myself, and I didn't make it easy on myself. It's not a super easy song to play, but for me, it's been a great thing to practice, which is why I wanted to share it in this way. You're going to go from this E flat shape to the C sharp shape, and the way I like to do that, and you can think of other techniques or other strategies if that helps you, I like to put my index finger down. When I switch to the C sharp, I like to put my index finger down as the bar, and then these other fingers I'm going to lift, and one of them is going to go onto the 4th fret of my A string. For me, what's probably most comfortable is the pinky. And I'm playing this on a concert, but if you've got a tenor, it's going to be more of a stretch because your frets will probably be a little wider apart even. Soprano might be a little less of a stretch. But that is the C sharp. So, and it's not the only way to play a C sharp or an E flat. There's other chord shapes you can figure out if you want. But this, I did build it around these chord shapes. So that's why I'm teaching it with just these chord shapes. If it's easier for you to play a different way, you can. In this beginning part 1, you're just going back and forth between those 2 chords. And I'm doing it on a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, switch. Now it's probably easiest if you start with just 1, and don't even worry about doing it in time. Just go from your E flat and then go to your C sharp and make sure all of the strings are ringing out, and then go back. And you can gradually build up your speed. You can practice with a metronome, but that's all that's in part 1. That's the only chord change the whole time. So this is part 2, stanza 2, Come On Unstuff My Stocking, and then it repeats with other lyrics later. We're going from the A flat, which is played with that 4-finger F shape. So we've got our bar on fret 3, and then the F shape beside it. So we would say 5, 3, 4, 3. I'm going back and forth here from my A flat to my E flat 7. Now the good news about this one, it is easier than the last one because you've already got your bar on the 3rd fret and that can stay there for the E flat 7. So I'm gonna use my pinky or my ring finger. You're just gonna let go of those 2 fingers and leave the bar down. There it is. And again, take some practice. Figure out what finger you want to play that A with. I'm playing it with, I think my pinky feels best. And then eventually you're going to get to the same rhythm that we were doing in the other one. And again, the pulsing or pumping is optional. I do that automatically now when I play this song. But that's with the pulsing, or you can just do 1, 2, 1, 2. You want to get it up to speed eventually, but you don't need to be there at the very beginning. You can start just 1 strum and slowly. All right, and then at the very end of the 2nd stanza, it changes. And here we're going to take that F shape and we're going to make it an F sharp. Well, we're actually coming from the E flat 7, so let me go from there. So we've got our bar on 3, but our finger here on the 4th fret of the A string as well. And then we're going to go to an F sharp. And I'm going to slide that bar down to the 1st fret and then place my F shape next to it. So similar to what we were doing earlier in the stanza, where we're going back and forth here on the 3rd fret, and I just need to slide it down from here to here. And from there, I'm going to go up to the G and up to the A flat. So once I'm down here on the F sharp, it's just moving everything forward 1. Mind hearing a little bit of sliding ring. I think it sounds cool. So you don't have to worry about stopping the sound super sharply between those. I like a little slide. And again, I wrote the song, so the slide is allowed even if I didn't, but I like the sound of that. Okay, and you're going to see when we come back and do the instrumental sections, they're built around these chord progressions that we're already doing. All right, so that's part 2. Then there's one more stanza. You'll see it at the bottom of the page 1. And here we're going again, similar to what we did before. We start out with that for part 2, A flat to E flat 7. But instead of going F sharp, G, A flat, like we did at the end of the first part 2, here we're going to go to part 3. So we'll do our A flat, E7 on the last line of stanza 2 at the bottom of the page, the I Saw the Movie Where Those Kids stanza. And then from that E flat 7, which is, remember, the D7 shape, but 3rd and 4th frets, we're going to slide down to the F sharp. So that's similar, but now we're going to go to the C sharp 7. So we haven't done that chord yet in this song. And that is still bar 1. So again, your bar doesn't need to move. That's nice. From the F sharp, you lift your other fingers, and then you decide which finger is comfortable to put it down C sharp 7. That is the same shape as E flat 7, but now we're on the 1st and 2nd fret. So that's another thing you could practice, going from E flat 7 to F sharp to C sharp 7. And then you're going to go back and forth between those two a couple of times. Not as many times as some of the stanzas, but F sharp, C sharp 7. The bar on 1 stays down the whole time. So another thing that I would start out by practicing slowly, and then eventually you can get up to a double strum or a double pulse if you're pumping. I should say too that your hand's going to get worn out when you're practicing this. If you just play through the song once, then your hand doesn't get as tired, but it might still be tiring. When you're practicing this, and me, when I've already been doing this for 15 minutes, my wrist is starting to get tired. The bar chords can make your wrists hurt. So you want to do a couple of things. While you're actually playing, you want to make sure you're not carrying a lot of tension in your shoulders, your arms. You can do some rolls, you can do some shrugs and let go. And when you have your hand out here, you want to make sure you're not like torquing your wrist or your elbow or your neck in a weird way. Try to keep things a little loose and relaxed. You may need to angle your fingers sometimes and turn your arm, or you may be coming straight on, but you just want to keep it from hurting too much. And I like to stop and shake out my hand every once in a while. So do that when you're feeling the pinch. And also, you don't have to pinch as hard as you think you do with bar chords. You'll see that as one of my tips in my bar chord tips and tricks video. If you watch it, we tend to over squeeze. So it's good to like practice one bar chord shape and just see how lightly you can use your fretting hands and still get sound. Like if you don't do it enough, you'll get the clacking, but if you do it a little bit more, you might find you don't need to clamp as hard as you are automatically clamping. I often find that. So give yourself a break too. If you feel like you've been practicing this one too long and you need to move on to something without any bar chords or just stop playing the ukulele for a little while, of course you should do that. So we've just gone from the E flat 7 to the F sharp to the C sharp 7, and then we go back and forth. And then we have at the end of section 3 a kind of fun little 6-4 walk down. So we go barred across the 6th fret, barred across the 4th fret, and then all the way down to C sharp 7 again. And then we're going to do a little bit, this is a little tricky here too, we're going to go to our C sharp. So we're going to take probably our pinky finger. It's nice if you do that C sharp 7 with your pinky. You can just slide your pinky forward to the 4th fret, so you're playing a C sharp, and then you're going to come back again. So you actually go back and forth between C sharp 7, C sharp, C sharp 7. And then you go back to your F sharp. And then part 3, again, this is the wacky stanza. It ends completely differently than any of the other ones did. You're now on an F sharp, and then we're going to do an E, F, F sharp. So you're going to go for that 4-finger E shape, slide that forward, everything 1 fret, and then slide everything forward 1 fret. You can do some strategizing with where it feels good to keep your thumb on the back of the neck when you're doing something like E chord. Often when I jump into E chord, I find I leave my thumb over here and I'm trying to play F sharp over here. But if I can keep my finger a little bit more on the back of the neck of the uke, it could slide forward with that shape. Again, that's a good reason not to clamp down super hard because you want your thumb to be able to move, but it also provides some stability. If you're feeling like your ukulele is falling when you're playing this, a strap might help as well, because you may feel like, oh, I can't concentrate on these chords and also hold my ukulele at the same time that I'm doing this. So feel free to put the strap on if that helps when you're practicing bar chords as well. And sometimes I can take some pressure off your shoulders and neck too, since we were talking about that a moment ago. So those are the 3 sections of the song. Stanza 1 is the most straightforward. Stanza 2 adds a little something, and stanza 3 gets wild. But those repeat a couple of times in the song. Now, the instrumental transitions, including the intro and the outro, and sometimes in between songs, or in between stanzas or verses, are built around what we just did. They're built around those movable chord progressions where you're inching your fingers all forward or backward 1 fret. So, for example, the intro is the same as what we're going to do in stanza 1. And really that, is how I wrote this song. I was kind of playing around with chords, and I was going back and forth between those 2 chords. And I was like, ooh, I kind of like how that sounds. And that became my intro and the first part of the, well, what became the chorus, not the first verse, but the chorus. So that is foundational to this song. E flat, C sharp, E flat, C sharp. You could transpose the song into other keys, but you wouldn't have that same chord movement. So that is the intro as well as the whole first stanza. Now after the second stanza, we're going to do the same thing we did on the last line of the second stanza. So there's an F sharp, G, A flat, which is done with that F built shape. Going forward, your bar goes from 1 to 2 to 3. And all the other fingers just go right in front of it. You kind of try to keep the same shape as you slide everything forward so that it can kind of stay stable. So we do it with lyrics, be the gift for me, and then it goes instrumental, the same thing. And then there's a second part to that instrumental transition. You're going into what you're going to do in the next stanza. So you're setting yourself up for E flat, C sharp, E flat, C sharp, just like in the intro. So we're going back to part 1 and go back to that chord progression. Now you do part 1, 2, 3, and then at the end of part 3, at the bottom of the first page, we do similarly to one of the ones we just did, where we go from the end line of stanza 3 into a transition with no lyrics, but we're going to do the same chord shapes twice. So we're ending on "I don't want near my tree," and then the E, F, sorry, it started with an E flat, E, F sharp, and you just do it again. So the transition is going from the end of that last line where you end on E, F sharp, and then you just do it again. Okay, then there's a page turn and we go back again to that foundational E flat C sharp. So back to the main chord progression because it goes with the chorus, which gets repeated the most. You're going to do that again at the end of part 3 this time. So actually stanza 3 doesn't end the same way both times, does it? It ends very similarly, but then the chord transition is different. That's it. The last line with the lyrics is, no, it's also not the same. The second time we do part 3, it's simpler. Oh, see, I missed that. The one at the bottom of the first page that we already looked at had all the wacky stuff at the end where it changed chords a couple times, and hopefully you're looking at it on your end so you can see it like I can. And then when we get to it on the second page, we just get F sharp to C sharp 7. So it's actually not as wacky the second time. But then at the end of it, you transition back into your E flat, C sharp, chorus, chord progression. So that's good to know. You only have to do one weird stanza 3. And then at the very end of the song, we're ending again with some lyrics that go under an F sharp, G, A flat, that move forward. And then we're going to do that 2 more times. For the outro, take him back. And then you slide a bar all the way up to 8. And that is your final chord. Now, I didn't write in what chord that is on this chord sheet because I wrote this song and I didn't even really know enough music theory to know what chord that was meant to be. It could be several different things. If you look up this shape on a site like the Chord Ook Finder Chord Buddy, is that what it's called? Chord Finder, Ook Buddy Chord Finder. If you look it up there, you'll find that that could be several different chords depending on what key you're in. So with that and with the bar 6 and the bar 4, I didn't know enough theory to know. And I could probably figure it out now, but I haven't even bothered to. I've just written it in as the shape as opposed to what chord you're playing there. So if you were to transpose it, we'd have to figure out what chords those are in order to make them different shapes for you, if that was interesting to you. All right, so let me just show you on the screen now, since I was showing you chord progressions and how my fingers moved. I want to show you on the screen what I'm talking about with that third stanza here, just in case you didn't have it on your end. The third stanza here on the first page, the must have had his hat pulled down, ends with that bar 6-4 and then another sort of little C sharp 7 run. But on the second page, can I get them both on the same page at the same time? Yes. On the second page down here, it's just F sharp, C sharp 7 all the way through. So it is a little different on the 2 pages. It's weirdest on the first page, more straightforward on the second page. But same idea. And similar melody in the lyrics. All right, so let's see, how's the best way to do a little practice on this? Let's do a slow strum through the whole thing so that you can start to practice those chord shapes. And then we'll talk about strumming patterns, which I already mentioned what I'm doing, but we'll kind of talk about it a little more in depth. So let's just single strum through the whole thing. And then if you want to make it even slower and you're not watching live, you can slow me down using the gear icon on YouTube, or you can speed me up if I'm going too slow. I'm going to take it slow so that people who are just practicing some of these chords for the very first time, even if some are familiar to you, if some of them aren't, you want to start slower and work up to faster. So let's start with E flat, and we're going to just do a nice slow 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's do it like that. And I'll try to sing that slow. Okay, so let's try it. 1, 2, Here we go. Flat, C, sharp. Flat, C. Here's the verse. Take him back, Santa. I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Now slide that bar forward for the next verse to the 3rd fret and put your F shape next to it. Come on and stuff my stocking, pretty please, and trim the tree. Rewind it up the chimney. Slide that bar back to make your F sharp. That would be the gift for me. Now do that again. F sharp, G, A flat. Now we're back to 1. We're back to our intro progression. E flat, 2, C sharp, 2, E flat, 2, C sharp, 2. Take him back, Santa. I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Slide that bar up to 3. I saw the movie where those kids designed the perfect nanny. But when I wrote my note to Santa asking for a Maggie, slide back to F sharp. Must have had his hat pulled down, 'cause what he gifted me. Now bar 6 was tragically, all the way down to 1, a big old dud. And then we're going to take that pinky forward to the 4th fret. I don't want near my tree. That part's hard. And then you go to E, F, F sharp. Again. All right, now we're going back to that intro progression. E flat, C sharp. 1, 2, 1, 2. Take him back, Santa. I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Part 2, slide forward. Hope that baby got a good one. Boy, can she sing high. Could be I'm on the naughty list. I just don't like my guy. Slide that bar down to 1. Tried mistletoe for days, but I stayed well north of the pole. Turns out only a mouse was stirring, so I'd rather go without. Now back to E flat, C sharp. And one more time through that first stanza chorus. Take him back, Santa. I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Slide that bar forward to 3. Come on, leave it on 3. My stocking, pretty please, untrim the tree. Rewind it up the chimney. Slide that bar back to 1. Be the gift for me. F sharp, G, A flat. One more time. Take him back. Slide up to 8. There you go. Sometimes when you're playing a bar up there beyond 7, it can feel like you're clinking and clunking. So it may take a little bit of practice to be able to like lean your finger back a little bit so that all the strings can ring. You can test each one. That just takes some muscle memory to figure out where your finger needs to land to not be on top of the fret wire and make clacky sounds. So that's the song. I want to go through it a little faster for those who want to play it a little more up to speed and to try the pump strum. But let's just talk about some modifications you can make with the strumming. And I'm going to do it with the chords off the screen for you so you can see my hands a little bigger in case you're working on those progressions and you want a more close-up view. But first, let's just look at the strumming. So I've written up here a down, down, or a down, down, up. Works for pretty much the whole song. You have basically a 2-beat rhythm. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And this is with the kind of down, down, pulse, pulse with the pump strum. But again, you don't have to pump. You can just play down, down. Again, of course, you can do single strums. I'm just talking about options to alternatives to single strums. You could also do down, down, up. I find that up moment, though, is when I'm often changing chords. So it doesn't sound as clean if I do down, down, up, because I'm already trying to change chords to get to the next one. Which is why I don't do the up personally. I just do down, 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 all the way through. And then where I have single slashes, forward slashes on the page, I do a single strum. And that helps with some things like moving your E, F, sorry, that's E flat again, Jenny. E, F sharp. It helps to have just a single strum moment there. All right, so let me try playing through this with the chords not on the screen and a little faster. And then you can use the timestamps to go back and just do the single strum version if that's where you are right now and come back to this later. When you like, you can also look at my original cover of it, or cover. It was an original, Jenny. The original time I posted it after I'd first written it when I shared it. You can look at that as well. It should be in the same key. I don't think I changed my tuning on my strings, which would be the only reason it would be in a different key. Because again, this is the key I wrote it in for these shapes, so I don't think I changed the key when I recorded it for my voice, if that makes sense. But if I did, I would have just tuned the strings up or down, so I would still play these shapes. Again, these are not the easiest shapes, but they are going to come up in other songs if you are looking for more advanced songs. You know, if you're fine not playing any of these shapes ever, that's okay too. I don't have an agenda for you to play these chords, but I have found them really useful for my toolbox, which is why I wanted to use this song in the Christmas spirit, but also to start looking at these movable chord shapes. And again, if you know like how piano keys or other musical keys work, if you know the order that notes go, you can extrapolate from these shapes other chords. Like for E, we're doing E, F sharp. But if you kept going with that shape, you would find a G sharp, another A. Do you hear that? It's like a different voicing. They're called a different voicing. So you hear higher tones, but it's the same chord. So we could keep that shape, or same thing with the E flat 7. If we move that up, it becomes an E7. It sounds different, but it is an E flat in E7. E flat 7 becomes an E7, it becomes an F7. This is also an F7. Let's see, that's a G7. So yeah, we can find other shapes that way. E flat, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, G7. They sound very different, but they are the same chord. They would work musically in the same place. Although you may not always like the higher voicing. Sometimes if we're playing a lot of chords down here, it sounds weird to throw in one that's high. Sometimes you want one though. For a finishing chord, you might want a high G7. And now you could take your E flat 7 shape up if you know the notes in order on your fretboard. Again, that's another video that we can make. And it may be covered somewhat in my bar chord tips and tricks or my movable chord shapes video. It should be, which I will link to below. All right, so let's play through this song, though, a little bit more up to speed. And I'll do the pumping strum, but you don't have to. I'm going to do it at this tempo, I think. I'll have a page turn at the end of, we'll pause for the page turn, and we'll see how it goes. All right, let me get this all on the page for me, and you can have it on your end if you want it. But if you want to see my fingers bigger, now you'll see what I'm doing. For better or for worse. I'm exposing all my errors as well as the things I do correctly. All right, so let's try a 1, 2, 1, 2. Here it comes. Take him back, Santa. I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Come on and stuff my stocking. Pretty please and trim the tree. Rewind it up the chimney, that would be the gift for me. Back to one. Take him back, Santa, I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. I saw the movie where those kids designed the perfect nanny. But when I wrote my note to Santa asking for a man, he must have had his hat pulled down, 'cause what he gifted me was tragically a big old dud I don't want near my tree. Woo! I almost did it wrong. We got it though. Page turn. 2, 3, 4. Take him back, Santa, I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. I hope that lady got a good one. Boy, can she sing high. Could be I'm on the naughty list, I just don't like my guy. Tried mistletoe for days, but I stayed well north of the pole. Turns out only a mouse was stirring, so I'd rather go without. Take him back, Santa, I want to start again. We can't be Christmas lovers and we can't be friends. Come on and stuff my stocking, pretty please untrim the tree. Rewind it up the chimney, that would be the gift for me. One more time. Take him back. All right. I know that's a lot. Those chords are a lot. I don't want to play that song 15 times in a row either. So practice as your muscles allow. If that's already easy for you, awesome. But if this is new to you and you're working on these chord shapes, then give yourself lots of breaks. Shake it out. Give yourself a little bit of a shoulder massage. Ask somebody in your home to give you one later. And keep it fun for yourself. If this is also not, this song is not your cup of tea, that is fine. You can take all these chord shapes and apply them to other songs. So you will find other songs in my songbook and of course other places on the internet that have lots of E and F, and you could use these shapes to go between them instead of your easier F and E. If you like playing other shapes of E, or then just doing the harder E and then the easier F, you can actually take one of these chord shapes, even that barred G, and just apply it when you see G in a songbook or chord sheet you got online, and just throw that in whenever you see it if you're in the mood. And that would be a good way to start introducing some of these movable chord shapes into your repertoire as well. And then build some chords for yourself. Say, okay, well, what if I continued moving this F shape forward? What if I moved the B flat shape forward? You can check out that other content on movable chord shapes and bar chords as well. All right, so I think I've blathered long enough. Happy Christmas to you if you are celebrating. Happy Hanukkah if you just finished celebrating Hanukkah. I hope you're having a lovely season, whether or not you celebrate with family and friends, chosen family, or blissfully by yourself if that is your cup of tea. Thank you so much, folks. Patrons, I will see you soon for another tutorial. I'm going to record one within the next day or two. That'll be more beginner friendly, and lots of stuff is available in the backlog of videos as well. So leave me comments, questions. Let me know what else you want to learn this way. What can you not find a video on, a song or a technique, or you haven't found the one that clicks with you yet, and I'll see if I can approach it from another angle. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for your support, and I will see you again on the internet. Bye, folks.